Welcome back to the Fulfill Female Entrepreneur Podcast. It's your host, Cassandra Rosa. I'm a certified coach and healer and intuitive business coach, and the mission behind all that I do is to help you to create a fulfilling life and business. Today, I'm so excited to speak with Mollie Lowe about all things experience-based marketing. Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. I'm so excited to have Mollie here. We just recorded an episode on her podcast. She is just such a firecracker of energy and really a tall glass of sass, just like what it says on her podcast. You definitely should go check that out. That's going to be part 2. It's going to be coming out next Thursday. So we're going to leave a link for you to check that out in the show notes or the link to this video. I want to start this off by thanking you for coming here, Mollie. I just had a blast recording with you, and I'm excited to do part 2 right now.
I know. Right back at you. Honestly, as I shared, you and I keep talking about alignment, but I mean it. When you meet people, you're like, yes, yep. This is my people. It's so easy to just go into conversation. So thank you.
Yeah, I'm excited to introduce you to Mollie. She believes in the power of entrepreneurship as a force for positive change with 20 years combined experience in both HR leadership and entrepreneurial settings. She specializes in helping career coaches be better CEOs of their businesses. As a CEO and business coach, she brings a unique blend of expertise that focuses on LinkedIn, lead generation, attraction marketing, and experience-based sales that we're going to be focusing on today, and business operations and execution. She has an amazing podcast called A Tall Glass of Sass that you can check out in the show notes. And she is so graciously giving you a free gift today. She's going to talk about that before we wrap up our convo today. I love that. I love how you're focusing on helping entrepreneurs be CEOs and having that whole energy behind it. And you're all about execution, which I think is important because as spiritual entrepreneurs, sometimes we can be super woo-woo and not have the strategy in place. So I'm excited to chat with you all about that today.
Yes. Happy to give and offer. So as long as you're open to receiving, I am going to bring it. So all good.
Let's do it. Let's bring it. So I want to hear from you. What fulfillment means to you?
You know, when I think about fulfillment, to be honest with you, this is what it means to me. Doing what I want, when I want, how I want. And in the best way, right? It brings energy to me, and it is an expansion of life for me and people who I get to interact with. That's fulfillment for me because I always feel like we live in a world where we should do this, we could do that. Fulfillment is actually doing what you truly desire and just going out there and being like, this is who I am, this is what I want, this is how I want to live my life. And being that can very, very much seem like being a trailblazer, but fulfillment is something that's contagious because when someone sees you do it, it is this wonderful reflection of, okay, if Mollie's doing it, okay, well, we all can do it too, right? So that's what fulfillment would be for me.
I love that. I love that expansion energy, which is so huge, right? And by you showing up as yourself, how you can expand the world and make it a better place, which is amazing. I love that definition. And I want to know a little bit about what's the most fulfilling part of your work?
I would have to. Yeah, you know, for me, at the end of the day, to your point of piggybacking on the expansion, being that LinkedIn business coach for my clients and helping them to figure it out where they're like, oh my gosh, and I'm seeing this. And we're not just talking the tangible results. Of course, as an entrepreneur, we want to see revenue. We want to see growth. We want to see, you know, that you are growing your audience and your community. Yes, those numbers are going to help you to see things. And it's in the intangible. It's the shift in confidence, the elevation of that. It is the ability to say, yeah, we were just saying on my podcast, right? Having faith and doing faith are two different things. It's when they can actually say, I truly believe that it's my birthright to be happy, healthy, and wealthy, and actually seeing that come to fruition. I'm doing what I need to be doing in the world.
I love that. I love that. You're, talking more about that expansion energy, which I think is huge. And it's such a powerful thing to be able to create those subtle shifts for people, because that's what creates the big shifts. I know the big shifts is kind of what we talk about online, the kind of things that we check off our bucket list. It's something that we share online, but it's those little things that I feel like need to be celebrated so much more. So I love how you talked about that. And then this whole experience when it comes to experience based sales. Do you want to talk about what that even means for people that have never heard that term before?
Yes. So you probably haven't heard it. Why? Because I made it up. Real talk. Okay. It's my method, it's my strategy.
Okay.
So this is a play off of what I'm sure many of you guys have heard of empathetic sales. That is a very common used term and it plays off of that, and here's why. Let me tell you a little bit of a story, okay?
Please.
So yeah, I believe that we all have feminine and masculine energies, like in us, okay? And you, depending on the situation, will lean more to one or another.
Mm-hmm.
And I typically, well, I'll say it this way. When it comes to sales, I lean heavily towards my feminine energy. I am
Hmm.
that type of person that I believe that I attract the people to me. I believe that it's through who I am, my authenticity, that
Right.
really guides how people identify, yeah, Molly is the coach for me. Okay. However, I should say and, because it's really not a however. And one day I joined a networking group and there was probably about 60 people on there of all of the people, and it was like you were clicking on the different pages of the Zoom. Maybe there was four other women that I could visually see that was a part of this group. So it was a heavily masculine, very heavily attended by men. And what I saw that was different, the chat was blowing up. I kid you not. We were in a Zoom room, and the chat was going so fast I could not keep up with it. And I just thought to myself,
Yeah.
"Holy cow! Is this a place for me? I do not feel comfortable." And
Mm.
this is where I actually stopped myself and I said, "Listen, okay, you're here for a reason. What can you learn from it?" These men have no qualms, no hesitation at all throwing in their pitch in the chat. And here I am being really reserved, being really timid, really scared
Hmm.
of owning my value and who I am and what I do and how I help. I had no question whatsoever that I am great at what I do, but in this room full of men, I was like, this is not empathetic sales. This is not empathetic sales 101 that I have been taught, that I have seen. Like, this is so
Right.
uncomfortable. And that was the moment when I decided, you know what? No, I am going to flip the script in a way. We're gonna shift it a little bit where I want this to be experience based. And so when I started to shift that perspective, because I felt like empathetic sales to me was way more feminine than I would have even wanted. And I wanted to muster up that courage. I wanted so much to be out there and just say, "I'm Molly, and this is who I am. This is what I do, and this is how I help," and just like everybody else. And that was the moment when I started shifting from empathetic to experience based sales. Okay.
Hmm.
That was a long story short, but I think it's really important to just showcase how this all came about.
Yes,
Now,
please.
yeah, so to give you a little bit more of a definition of experience-based sales. Again, this plays in a beautiful harmony of your feminine and masculine energy when you show up in sales, okay? And when I say experience-based, that is exactly what it is. It is you providing an experience of you to the people, whether it's here listening to the podcast, if you were to join a workshop, or if you to watch me on a live, or if you were to literally just send me a DM. Every single interaction that you have with me is an experience. And that
Hmm.
experience is what guides somebody's decision to trust you, to want to work with you, and eventually say, "Yes, I'm raising my hand. I sign me up. Where's the dotted line? Send me the contract, send me the invoice." Experience based sales requires that you still show up. It's what I call show and tell, just like you were when you were 5 years old and you went to school and you brought your teddy bear in. You're showing and you're telling. So experience based sale is based on show and tell. You standing up and saying, yes, and I'm going to take space in this room too. I can sit here and explain to you exactly who I am, what I do, and how I help and who I serve. And I'm going to soften that by, instead of pushing it in your face all the time, and I want for you to have an experience of me too. And through those experiences, you're going to find out, am I for you? Am I not for you? So that's the best way for me to describe experience-based sales for you.
That's so interesting. It's so interesting because, like you said, it's kind of merging in that masculine and feminine. And often the way that we've learned about sales is from the male perspective, right? So it's really interesting that you've prioritized bringing that harmony of both of the pieces kind of coming together. So what would that look like for someone? Like
Yeah.
for people that want to see the practical,
Yes.
what would that experience look like?
Yes. So this is what I teach my clients. There's a difference, and it's not right or wrong, good or bad. It's literally just understanding that there's a difference and the way that you show up. Asking for a sale and offering a sale, two different things. Okay. Offering a sale looks like this. You creating a post, okay, on social media and saying, hey, if you're interested, DM me. Let's talk. Okay. Asking for the sale is actually going ahead, and whoever is engaging with your post, even if they didn't say like, okay, yeah, it's you nudging them and saying, hey, I've seen that you have engaged in my post and I am so grateful for your engagement. Let me get to know you better. And then through those conversations, you saying, this is exactly how I help. Would you be open to hopping on a call with me so I can share more about who I am and what I do? It's really different, because
Right.
one is more of a, oh, here's a soft invitation. I'm going to offer a sale to you. So it's going to stay there. I'm not going to really pursue. I'm not really going to chase it. However, that asking for a sale, and that's leaning more towards that masculine side of experience-based
Right.
sale, is you're still giving an experience of you. You're taking the time to nurture the conversation, but you're not going to miss out on being bold and extending the actual call and separating any emotions. So even if they're like, no, thank you so much for extension, but I'm not ready yet, to say, okay, yeah, thank you. I appreciate the transparency, and not taking that personally. Right. So
Right.
that's the difference. That's how you can see the difference between, what experience-based sales looks like from a feminine energy versus a masculine energy.
That's very clear. I like that example. And I'm thinking of all the ways that I've offered versus asked, even in my own business while I'm listening to, which has been so interesting to hear. So, what are your favorite ways to create that experience for people that will lead to sales?
Yes, I firmly believe in consistency of who I am authentically. So it first starts out with you just knowing who you are as a person, like authentically you. Every single experience that you are going to give to someone, a sale conversation happens before the actual sales call, right? And so you're already bridging that gap. And when you think about that, okay, it is consistency of your authenticity. So really being able to narrow down, like, who am I as a person, without having to mask or being someone that you're not. I kid you not, y'all. No matter if you're listening to Cassandra's podcast or mine, or if you're tuning into any, I'm just me. I'm just Mollie, right? Just plain old Mollie. But that's authenticity for you. So that's the first step. Secondly, from there, anytime that you can, I am a firm believer in live kind of interactions, right? Because just like posts and or even comments or DMs, when you're written, it's kind of like emails. You kind of give people an assumption. People read those in their voice. And so there's room for assumptions to be made. So I am a
Right.
firm believer, yeah, in having live events. So whether you're going on live on Instagram or on LinkedIn, or you're hosting your own kind of, mini workshop or a webinar of some sort where people can actually connect with you and have a conversation with you real time, that is where rubber hits the road. the majority of my clients, that my leads that flip into clients, are from my workshops, are from my lives, because they know they can actually engage with me as a person, right? And so
Right.
those are the best kinds of experiences that you can give that can help people to expedite the sales process. And again, really that rapport building is through those conversations.
Yeah. No, I love live too. Like that's my favorite way to interact with people. Like writing out a post, it feels more like a task than just having a chat and like doing these conversations on podcasts or on live. So I love that you make that a priority for people, and that's the experience that you provide for people. And I think that, that's something really important to keep in mind when you start out your business too, is incorporating more of those experiences. Even if you're scared to go on video, even if you're scared to, have a chat, it's like acting in spite of those fears and showing up and creating an experience for your clients if that feels authentic and true to you. And then what about like the energetics behind it? So as you know, I really love to talk about the practical and the energetics. If someone has been in the ask for the sale, ask for the sale, ask for the sale energy their entire business, but they're feeling like they want to make a change and they want to create more of that experience based marketing and offering versus asking, what do you think is like the energetic shift or like the mindset shift that people need to do to lean into that authentically?
Yes. Oh, such a solid question. So the best way for me to help you guys to understand this is offering a sale is almost like inbound, right? You
Mm-hmm.
are opening up, you're allowing, you are embracing, you are expecting, and you are receiving, however which way the universe and God or a higher power brings it to you. Okay, so that's when you are offering a sale. You're just like, yeah, let's hop on a call. Let's talk. If this speaks to you, let's chat some more. And you just allow and you expect. Okay. And so for those of you who have been in the really masculine, more assertive, yeah, I want to talk to you. Let's hop on a call. Here's my link. Here's my link. Here's my link. Again, it's not to say that it's a wrong way of doing it. It's a nice balance. And you'll find that that constant outbound running, chasing is going to make you feel really tired really soon. So I
Right.
always recommend for you to think about it like this, okay? Do a nice little harmony, okay? 50-50 of inbound versus outbound, and tapping into and listening to, where am I getting my energy? There's going to be times, I don't know about y'all, but I am very aligned with my lunar cycle, okay? So there's, when it is a new moon, I am super sassy. I am very, very self critical. That is not the time for Mollie to go into asking for a sale, because I become a lot more self-critical about myself, and so
Mm.
that's much more of a offering a sale, because I don't I'm not in the energy mode to do that, and so I mean, you can tell I can talk about this for hours, but that's
I
what I
love
would
this.
share to start out.
No, that's great. And I know that it can be a shift. Like I'm even thinking about in my life and where I was taught about sales of like ask, 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 create your opportunities, create your own destiny, take all these steps to know that you've done everything, right? Because was that your experience too? Did you start with the asking? How
Absolutely.
did you make that like shift of that trust and be in that energy of allowing the experience that you provided for people, whether it's your live or it's your workshop, like be in that space of trust and receiving that the experience that you created was so powerful and so palpable that you can be in this space to just invite and receive. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I remember in one particular instance, and I'm going to share this with you guys because I know that you guys probably would resonate here. So the go and chase getting the asking for the sale, to me, it was the moment where, when you hop on a discovery call and someone's like, well, you do all the objections, like, I still want to think about it. I'm pretty sure I yeah, I gotta find the funds to work with you. And a lot of the times we have been taught to say, okay, great. So do you have time tomorrow for a quick 15-minute
Yeah.
chat, or
Right.
next day, right? That's a very masculine approach of chase and do the follow up. Okay,
Right.
I got to a point where I was like, 9 times out of 10, I kid you not, they would ghost. They would flake on me. They wouldn't show up anyway, right?
Right.
And so I got to a point in my discovery call where, number one, I got better at ensuring that I understood if they were all in, even if they were 95% yes, and there was still that 5%, well, I'm not sure. Well, that's okay. And giving them that spaciousness, and to say, I showed up powerfully, guided you, navigated through this conversation to help you to identify if this is something that you want or not. And when you are ready for me, I am ready for you. You come
Mm.
back to me when it feels good for you and in
Right.
alignment for you, right? And then I just let it go. And there was like, I, after I hung up the call, I got to a point where it was like, I feel really good about that. Yeah. And
Mm.
I know that if they are feeling in full alignment with me, it doesn't matter if I had that 15-minute follow up call tomorrow or not. They're going to come back to me. And
Right.
that was when it shifted. It became like a, Molly, I'm ready. I'm ready. Okay, great. Here's next steps. It's less work for me to have to chase
Right.
you down. That was
Right.
that moment. It was that shift. I was like, no, I don't want to have to be chasing. I don't want to have to continually trying to. I get it. I get where the logic's coming from. And if I showed up authentically and empowered on the discovery call and I gave you value and clarity, you're going to remember that experience.
Right.
And you're going to come back to me when you're ready. So
Yeah.
that was the shift for me, was in that moment when I was like, I'm tired of people, not showing up for these follow-up calls because it obviously wasn't in alignment in some way, shape, or form. I had to change something. And that was when I
Right.
stopped, and clients still came anyway.
That's so powerful. That's so powerful. And what I'm understanding from you, you tell me if I'm misunderstanding, but there seems to be this understanding of like worth and like the value that you provided and trusting that's enough.
Beautifully said. Because that's it. It's when you show up on your discovery calls and your sales calls, and you are that expansion, right? Because I always, like I say to my clients, you guys have to, for what I always recommend is, once you start shifting the sales calls from and letting go of that pressure of like, I have to convince them to yes. Number one, you shouldn't be convincing anybody to say yes to work with you. Secondly, it's just a mini coaching session. When you
Mm.
think of it like that, it's like, oh, bring on the sales calls, baby. I want to talk to everybody. And I want to give them an experience of my coaching style. I want
Right.
them to walk away with value from this conversation. Yes. Is there mutual trust? Is there, or mutual benefit where we can work together? Absolutely. Let's have that conversation. Don't be afraid to again, show and tell.
Mm-hmm.
And stand in your value and your worth. You don't need to be chasing. If you showed up and you gave exactly the kind of experience that you want to give to people, they will never forget how you made them feel. They will be back, I promise you. They will be back. It may not be right now, but later.
I love that. I love that. You're opening my mind to so many things. I'm loving this. I love these podcasts because I learn so much, which is so great. And it's funny that you're saying the same when I was a guest on yours, right? It's hilarious
Absolutely.
how you have these perfectly divinely timed conversations, which is so great. So if everyone's listening and they're like, yes, you know what? I want to step into having this more balanced approach, want to experience more experience-based marketing in my business and have that as a strategy, what are some practical ways that you would recommend people to get started into this process?
Yeah. So let's start with the really masculine. If you're masculine, you're leaning more heavily masculine and you're constantly asking for that sale, okay? Pull back a little bit. Pull back a
Mm.
little and soften your approach, okay? So it can look like, instead of saying, hop on a call with me, do you want to talk on a call? Or, here's my link, book the call, book the call, book the call, to, if this is in alignment with you, if this speaks to you, I would love to have a chat. to get to know each other better, right? It's all about your word choices and intentionality. Okay. Now, if you're on the feminine side and you're like, oh, I really need to lean more on my masculine experience based sales, okay, I want for you to practice this. When you are on a live, when you're on a live or you're doing something that's a live workshop where you're actually having a conversation with someone real time, okay, just go ahead and say, you know, this is a fantastic live session. I love this topic. And if it resonated with you as well, and you're looking for more support specifically on this strategy, here's the link. Go ahead and snag a spot. I can't wait to talk to you. And yes, if there's mutual benefit, I would love to share more about who I am, what I do, and how I can help you. Right? So you can even tell in my voice, it is a lot firmer. It's a little bit more assertive. You are giving direct instructions for people. Whereas the more feminine approach is softer. It's more from a place of like, yeah, if you feel good. And it's okay to go back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you one more tip because in Mollie's world, more is more.
Yes.
More
I
is
love
more.
you,
Okay.
Mollie. I love you, Mollie. You're great.
Yeah. If you are wanting to, you're like, how do I give more experiences of me? I'm not comfortable yet being on a live video. I'm not there yet at hosting live workshops. Send voice notes
Yes.
instead of message. Cassandra knows all the
Yes.
messages I sent her were all voice notes, y'all.
She loves a good voice note. That she does.
Why? Because you're not giving people the, not to say that you don't want to give them an opportunity, but why would you allow for their assumptions to take the forefront when you can send a voice note? People can
Right.
hear, they can hear your tone, they can hear how you want to say it. You can laugh, people can hear your smile through that voice note, okay?
That's right.
That is experience based sales at even the most basic ways. Voice notes all day long.
Love that. Oh, I've learned so much from this conversation. I'm so grateful that you're on today. And I really want to just open up the floor for any way that you feel like you would want people to connect with you. If they're resonating with you, with your energy, and maybe talk a little bit about the checklist. I know that's something you wanted to bring forth.
Yeah,
Please.
absolutely. You guys already know LinkedIn Boss Babe. So feel free to connect with me directly on LinkedIn. You can look me up under Mollie Lowe, MOLLIELO, or Lotus Mentoring. You'll find me either way on there. Connect with me, and yeah, let's start having voice chats. Yes, you can send voice notes on LinkedIn. In case you were wondering, you
There you go.
absolutely can. So connect with me on there. My podcast, of course, right? So just as Cassandra said, we are doing part 2 on my side. So feel free to check me out on A Tall Glass of Sass, and then freebies, because I really believe in really helping you guys. Now, it's one thing to learn how to ask and offer a sale, but especially on LinkedIn, you want to ensure that your authenticity is being optimized on your LinkedIn. So this LinkedIn checklist is going to help you to ensure that all of the sections that you would want to have to help really portray your presence and your authenticity and your brand, business and personal, is spot on. So that checklist is there for you to snag as well.
Thank you so much, Mollie. I've had a blast. We need to do this again. I just feel a very deep connection to you and your energy. And thank you again. Thanks a million for being here.
You are so welcome. Thank you for having me. This is honestly, the one thing that I do really well is yap. Talk, 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 talk. So this is right up my alley. Thank you so much, Cassandra.
You're welcome. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you'll be notified every time I'll upload a new video on Thursday. See you in the next one. Bye.